This is a game mechanic overview for 7 Sails, version 0.92. This is the board and all its pieces already set up. Pretty simple. You just take out the board, you have these tokens here, and you just place them on the indicated spots. You separate the 3 decks. You have loot cards, relic cards, and trap cards onto the side. You have the Navy game mat and the Navy cards with the Navy pieces, and then you have the player captain cards on the side. So to begin play, each player will, starting with let's say the oldest player will go first. They'll first choose a captain. So the first player will choose Blackbeard and grab the corresponding colored piece. And then this shows you how many starting ration tokens that you have. So I'm going to grab 3 of these tokens, and what I get to do is place them on my ship and my ship stats. So the first stat is your trap cards. This is the number of trap cards that you can hold, which can be played during the gameplay. This is your movement on the board. This is your range, how far you can shoot, and this is how many guns you can shoot. So with ration tokens, you can only place them in these 3. You'll need chest tokens that you'll get by picking them up on the board to be able to increase this stat level. So to begin, I'll start with, say, 3 movement, and then I will get a 3rd gun. And then it goes, and then I get to pick a spawn. So a player can spawn at any one of the numbered ports right here. And so I'll just go ahead and spawn the closest port right there. So now that all players have chosen their pirate captains, placed their ration tokens, and have spawned their ships, play actually begins. And we're going to start with the player who chose their captain last, and then play will continue clockwise from there on out. So Calico Jack was the last pirate, and he had 2 ration tokens placed on, 1 on movement and 1 on guns, and spawned at the number 3 port. So how actions are done is the order is you loot, you recruit, you move, and then you shoot. So loot is when you're on top of a token tile, you can pick up that token and draw a loot card and do its actions. Since we're at the start, we're on no loot tokens, so we can skip that one. Recruit is if you have any extra ration tokens on your board, which when we pick them up, we'll place them in our reserves, we can move 1 over if we're out at sea, and we can move 2 onto our boat if we're at a port. So we have no extra reserve rations or reserve tokens, so we can't do that. But you can also, if you don't hold any trap cards and you have spots that say you can hold them, then you can draw 1 trap card that turn. So I will draw this trap card for this player, and I can hold this, and this will be kept secret from everybody, and I can play this whenever I want. So I'm just going to set that down there, and then you can move. So Calico Jack has 3 movement, so we'll go ahead and move him 1, 2, 3. And then since there's nothing to shoot, that will be the end of Calico Jack's turn. And play will continue for all the pieces, and we'll come in from there. Okay, everyone has taken their turn and have moved their piece. So we are back. And before actually, when everyone finishes turn, we actually move the round tracker to the next round spot. And then so we're back at Calico Jack. And so now we can actually do the loot portion of our turn since we're on a token. So to do that, you just pick up the token off the board. You just put it off to the side, and this is considered your reserve tokens. And when you do that, you actually draw a loot card. So anytime you have a token come into your reserves, you draw a loot card. And this one is called Discover Relic. So you automatically do what's said on the card immediately. So that says draw a relic card. So this one. We do this, and relic cards are unique because they will augment your ship, and that will stay with you as long as you hold this card and nothing happens to it. So this gives me +1 movement, and then afterwards you can just flip this down, and this is what we keep track of. So loot cards will determine the winner. So if you come over here, we have 4 players. So the goal is to get to 14 loot cards. So we already have 1 of 14 to continue. So now after looting, we go to the recruit phase. So I said that if you have reserve tokens, rations or chests, you can move them onto your boat during this turn. So let's go ahead and move this guy. Since we have that +1, let's go ahead and move this to our guns, increase our guns. And we can also, if we have less than we hold, we could go recruit a trap card. But since I have one, I can only hold one. I'm not going to be able to do that. So we can go ahead and move again. So I'm going to move. I've got 3 plus 4, so I have 4 movement. I'll go 1, 2, and then I'll just go to actually just go 3 right there. So we are still in the same round, and it is Anne Bonny's turn. And I wanted to show a little bit different. So Anne Bonny is on a chest token. So it's her turn, so she can loot. So she picks up the chest token like we did before with the ration, and we can put it on our reserves. And then again, we draw a loot card. And so this one says replenish, as draw up to as many trap cards as you have tokens applied for. We do not have any tokens applied yet, so this just kind of gets turned over and doesn't get applied to our ship. So now it's our recruit turn, and so again, chests are a little bit different. They're the only ones, they can be used on all 4, but they're the only ones that can be used for increasing the number of trap cards you hold. So you can go ahead and apply that here. And now that she can actually recruit trap cards, we'll go ahead and recruit one for her as well during this recruit phase. And this says, Relic Attunement, transfer a relic card from one player to another. And so these trap cards can be used at any point in time. She is actually going to go ahead and invoke it now. So she plays this, and she gets to play it to any a person and to whomever. So she's going to transfer Strong Winds from this player, I get off the table, to her now. And then when you play a trap card, you discard it at the bottom of the deck. So they actually will start getting recycled after a while. And then it would be her movement turn. So now she had 6 movement, now she has 7 movements, so she's definitely increased her ship. She's going to move, let's do this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. She'll just go over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that will be the end of her turn. So we are on the final player's turn, Blackbeard, for this round. And so we're all 3 other players have already gone, so we're just going to go ahead. So again, you loot. So he's going to loot this token, put it on his reserve, and then grab a loot card. And this loot card says Whirlpool teleport to any unoccupied port. So Blackbeard has to do this. So Blackbeard's going to look around the board and is going to be a little bit aggressive, and is like, okay, I'm going to try to take someone out. So he can move to any unoccupied port. So he's going to move here, and he's going to engage with Calico Jack with his process. So he now it's his recruit turn, so he can move a ration on, and he's going to go ahead and put a ration on range to be able to reach Calico Jack. And can't hold any more trap cards, so he can go ahead and move now. So to be advantaged, so he has 3 movement and 2 range. So he's going to be able to sit on this token, so he can loot it next turn. But also they can shoot over beach tile, so he can shoot onto Calico Jack for 2. So since it's 2 tiles away for 2 range, and he has originally 3 guns, and Calico Jack has 3 life, so health, or has 3 health. Health is indicated by the number of tokens on your applied to your entire ship from any of the stat levels. So you can see that Calico Jack has 1, 2, 3 health. If you were to look at someone like Davy Jones has 1, 2, 3, 4. And Blackbeard actually has 4 life here. So 3 guns would be enough. However, because Blackbeard moved before he shot, that you minus 1 gun. So actually he's only going to fire 2 guns, or only 2 hits are going to be applied to Calico Jack. So that's not going to be enough to kill Calico Jack. So, but Blackbeard luckily has a trap card. So if he's going to play the trap card, and that gives him 2+ guns for the single turn. So instead of 3, he's going to have 5, and because he moved, he'll actually be hitting for 4, which would definitely be enough to Calico Jack. So he says, hey, I'm firing on Calico Jack, but Calico Jack in his defense has a disarm trap card, so he decides to play this, and this actually will cancel out any of the other trap cards, and then play will go as normal. So these hired gun will be canceled out, and Calico Jack will actually only fire and hit for 2 now. So Calico Jack will just, when 2 hits, can just remove cannons. So let's say you remove these 2, and when you remove them, you just put them off to the side in your reserves. And Calico Jack survives. Blackbeard didn't earn anything, but cannot counterfire because he is on a beach. And that is how you attack in Seven Sails. So we've done a couple rounds, and we're coming up to the end of the third round, and we're about to start the fourth round. So when we move the round tracker to one of these navy circles, which is usually in the fourth and sixth round, you respawn a navy. So what we do is we flip over the top shuffled navy card, and that says port 4. So we find that port, and we will spawn a navy there. So navy have 6 rations, so basically 6 health. They have 3 range and 3 guns. And if any player is within range of the navy, so in this case, looks like Blackbeard is within range, the navy will fire on Blackbeard right before the start of his turn if the navy still exists, for 3 guns. And other players can attack the navy, and the navy will net you. If you sink the navy, you can actually draw a loot card for yourself. But the navy can also counterattack you for 3 guns, all their guns as well. So we'll see how that plays out in the next rounds. So it's still in this round, but it's back to Blackbeard's turn. So the navy still exists. So the navy is going to fire 3 guns on Blackbeard, and Blackbeard can't do anything about it. So in this case, Blackbeard will take 3 damage, and will have to remove 3 tokens off his ship and onto his reserves. And cannot counterattack because he is on the beach, and that shows how the navy can attack someone that is within range. Okay, so it's been a few more turns, and we're back to Calico Jack. And so Calico Jack is going to pick up and loot this token, put in his reserves, draw a loot card. This loot card says draw a relic card, so he draws a relic card. This is +1 guns to your ship. So he's excited about that. He's now going to recruit, so he's going to place this ration token. He'll go ahead and say he places it on movement, or actually guns for now. And then he has 2, he can hold 2 trap cards, and he only has 1, so he's going to go ahead and recruit a trap card. And Zara says +4 range for a single turn. So he's going to keep a secret, but he's kind of looking at the board, and he thinks he can take out Ambani now. So Ambani has 4 health, and with that range and guns, he should be able to get in position and take her out. So he's going to go ahead and move 1, 2, and since he's now 1, 2, 3, 4, so he's really too far for his natural range, but he's going to go ahead and play Clear Sky. And now he's going to shoot, so he's definitely within range now because he has a total of 6 range, and he's 4 away. And he has 6 guns, but he moves, so he's firing 5. And Ambani only has 4 tokens, so that will be a kill. So when this happens, you take all the tokens off, and you remove the game piece. And Calico Jack gets to claim one of their tokens as long as they have more than the starting one. So obviously they do. So he's going to claim a chest for himself, and he gets to draw a loot card again. So this one is just tuna cash, but doesn't really apply here. And next turn, actually, Ambani will spawn. So we'll keep going from here. So it comes back to Ambani's turn. So Ambani didn't really lose any of her objectives. She just lost one of her tokens she could apply, but that's not a really big deal in this case. So Ambani will go ahead and say, you know, I'm going to spawn away from everybody. Come here to over here. In that case, she automatically gets to apply her 3 starting tokens. So she's going to go ahead and place those back onto movement. So she has some movement and put maybe 1 on guns. And that's her 3 starting. But because she's at a port, she can also move 2 additional tokens back onto her boat. So she wants some more trap cards. So she's going to put those there, put that there so she can hold on to her 2 trap cards that she has. So she's kind of back pretty much in action and is able to continue play from there on out without losing too much. So it's been a few rounds, and it is back to Blackbird's turn, and he really wants to seek revenge on that Navy for hitting him earlier, so he really wants to take him out and claim a loot card. So he's going to begin his turn. He's going to go ahead and loot this chest, and he's going to draw a loot card. And this loot card says he will get +2 movement for this turn. So he's going to go ahead, and so to get over there, and if you could see, he actually had claimed a relic card from previously, which allows him to move through mountain and beach tiles. And these are mountain tiles, so typically they're unpassable, but in this case he can take advantage of that movement to get over there really easily. So right now he has 3 movement, +2, so he'll have 5 this turn, which should be enough to get over there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then he'll need 3 range, which he has 2. So he'll go ahead and recruit this token to get some more range. And then a Navy typically has 6 health, and he's only going to have 5, but he does have a trap card, so he has hired guns, so he's going to go ahead and apply hired guns, so now he'll have 7. So when he fires after moving, he'll have 6, or he'll have at least, he'll have 7, he'll at least have 6, so he'll go ahead and move. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He is within range. He can now fire for 6 with that hired guns, and the nave will be removed. So when the nave is removed, you just remove the piece off to the side, and you take the card and you put it back underneath the deck, and the person who killed the Navy gets to claim another loot card. So this one says, curse permanently remove a ration or chest token from your ship. So he's like, dang, I'll go ahead and just remove this one, and he places it back into the tokens for that turn. So it's been several more rounds, and the game has progressed even further, and we're about to get to another Navy spawn round, and we're going to show a interesting example of what could happen. So we're going to start the round before Calico Jack's turn. It's going to move here. That means we, again, flip over a card, and it's the 5th port, so we grab one of these guys. And so if there is someone already in the 5th port, like Calico Jack, the player has to move to either side. So Calico Jack in this case actually wants to do something pretty interesting. So he's going to choose to move here. But however, the Navy will still spawn. So it is Calico Jack's turn. So the Navy will fire on him right away. But Calico Jack has a trap card. So Calico Jack is going to play Heavy Mist, and that makes all attacks miss that player. So the Navy has not done anything. And then, since it's now Calico Jack's turn, so you can fire on multiple people. So here Annie Bonny is pretty weak with only 3 tokens on her ship, and Calico Jack has 6 native guns plus 1 well-oiled, so 7 including. And so Calico Jack can choose to say, okay, and then has 2 range, so can reach both. So he can say, hey, I'm going to use 3 guns on Anne Bonny, and I'm going to use 4 guns on the Navy to get the Navy closer to defeating. So he just says that, and Anne Bonny will be destroyed, which he can claim a token and gets removed and gets a loot card, and the Navy will take 4 damage, and we'll have 2 damage or 2 health left on the boat. But because the Navy can counterattack, Calico Jack still takes 3 damage in return. So Calico Jack can apply that here. And then Calico Jack's turn will end after that. And one other thing, once the entire Navy panel gets filled with spawn, so if the game continues and no Navies are being removed, when the final card is played, so when that 3rd one is played, then the actual game ends and the person with the lowest amount of loot cards wins. This is called a Navy victory, and the person who basically has done the least amount of damage in this world of piracy actually wins the game instead. So a lot of rounds have come and gone, and we're now near the end of the game. It is Davy Jones' turn, and Davy Jones has 12 loot cards and just needs 14 to win. So he looks at the board and realizes that Blackbeard and Annie Bonny, these two pieces, are pretty close to being done. They've got 3 tokens each from fighting each other, and he thinks he can get over there with his trap cards and his stats to be able to finish the game off in one single turn. So he has 3 trap cards, 4 movement, 2 range, and 5 guns. But he has a 1+ range and some trap cards. So he knows he needs a little bit more movement to get over there. So he's going to go ahead and play his first trap card, which gives him +4. So with that, he has 8 altogether, which can get him over to where he wants. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And from there, he is 3 away from Annie Bonny and 2 away from Blackbeard. And he has 3 range, so we can do both. But he only has 5 guns, and he moves, so only 4, and he needs 6 altogether. So he's going to play a second trap card, which gives him +2. So this will definitely seal it. But everyone knows this. Everyone knows how many he has. They've been counting. And Blackbeard, as a final-ditch effort to prevent this, goes ahead and plays Whirlpool and wants to teleport Davy Jones to another port. But in that same moment, Davy Jones disarms Blackbeard's card and can stay, and no one else has any trap cards to combat. And so with this, Davy Jones shoots 3 guns at Blackbeard, 3 guns at Annie Bonny, takes them both out, and is able to claim 2 loot cards, which gives him the end of the game, and Davy Jones has won.